I'm surprised you didn't say anything about the hat, by the way. Shout out to Vandy
I do like the hat.
Football.
It's fresh.
Yeah, shout out to Vandy Football for hooking your boy up.
Shout out to Diego Papia's NIL deal for hooking you up.
That's it, man. Exactly. I want to start with this. Arkansas obviously sweeps. We'll get into the series. Had a great time, though, Henderson in Nashville. I will say, taking in Hawkins Field. And, I had been before over the fall, watched the scrimmage, but actually seeing an SEC weekend there, I liked the ballpark more than I think I thought I would from the standpoint of, like, when we do our ballpark rankings, I'll admit I don't have it near the top, obviously, but it's if you can just go there, not compare it against every other park and just kind of appreciate it for what it is. It goes without saying, it's one of the most unique setups in college baseball you're literally sharing a concourse with the football stadium. You got there were foul balls going into the football stadium. Like, it was just such a neat vibe.
Hey, Chris, imagine, you remember from playing your playing days too, right? Remember, imagine, freshman that's not playing that game.
Get the ball, yeah.
Hey, someone on a foul ball. Freshman's got to go into the football stadium and get the foul ball. Got to go sneak through whatever it is, maybe do a couple stadiums.
Thankfully, I think for an SEC ball club, they've probably got student managers doing that. But still, to your point, yeah, it's just such a neat vibe. It was well attended. Arkansas fans, as you can imagine, traveled really, really well. I had one of the coldest takes to most people of all time, Harrison. I got my first look at the Vandy Whistler in person, and I thought the Vandy Whistler was awesome, and I voiced that on social media, and everybody thinks I'm an idiot now, so it is what it is. But I'll tell you, man, listen, I'm a big when they zig, you zag kind of guy, okay? College baseball needs more characters. Like, we need as many characters and as many personalities as we can get. That's what the Vandy Whistler is. Listen, you'll hate me for this probably. During the game, I went up to the dude, and I literally told him, hey, man, you make college baseball better. Appreciate you. Keep it up. So,
did he whistle at you in front of you?
He did not. He just said thanks. But if you hate the Vandy Whistler, you're going to hate me for saying that. It is what it is. I'll wear it. I don't care. I'm willing to die on this hill and have an unpopular take here.
Did you ask him about his hydration methods?
I did not. No. But I am willing to have this unpopular take. Dude, people were like, I listened to him all weekend. Didn't even bother me. It was what it was. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just immune to the Vandy Whistler.
It didn't bother me, but it
didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. So, again, I'm willing to die on that hill. I'm willing to have that take. It is what it is. Y'all can throw tomatoes in the comments. It's all good. But either way, had a great weekend in Nashville. Enjoyed every second. Thank you to all those of Vandy baseball and just Vandy in general, man. It's the love is really cool. And obviously, those that missed it, I will be making the move to Nashville, Tennessee over the next few months. So it's going to be really cool to have that in my backyard. And everybody in Nashville was great, man. Everybody with Vandy was great. We had a great time. The unfortunate part for the Doors, Harrison, is Arkansas took the brooms out, and they swept Vanderbilt over the weekend. Cam Kozel came back and crushed his former team. Harrison, he had 2 homers, 8 RBIs in game 1 alone, and it just kept going. I believe the first at bat of game 2 hits another bomb. That dude was red hot. I'll tell you this, Harrison. Obviously, this is my first opportunity getting a look at both these clubs in person. But for Arkansas, I'm going to hate myself for saying it because I have Arkansas PTSD when it comes to the postseason. I picked them to win the SEC.
You're not the only one, apparently.
I picked them to win the SEC, but I've got Arkansas PTSD when it comes to them in the postseason. But, man, this Hogs team has the making of one of the best teams in the country and a real threat to win the national championship. Like, they have all the pieces. Like, here's the thing. They've always been able to pitch. And, like, over the weekend, Zach Root was great on Friday. I thought Gabe Gackle, he was great on Saturday. Beetleshees coming in on Sunday. He was really good. They've got the sticks, though, man. Like, that's the difference now. Up and down the lineup, there are different guys. It's not just the Aloy brothers. It's not just Kozel, who kind of almost came out of nowhere. It's not just Iredale. There's Gavilan. Like, there's so many other dudes that, we had kind of discussed lightly coming in the weekend, but getting to see somebody in person, right? Like, you get to see so many more guys and hear so many more names, and I'm like, damn, this dude's popping off. This dude's driving the ball to the gap. This dude's hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Like, they've got the lineup now to compete at the highest level. They've always been able to do it in the regular season. Maybe they've now got the sticks, Harrison, to do it in the postseason. I say maybe because, again, I've got to see it. Because is this Arkansas team capable of getting to the postseason and pissing down their leg? They absolutely are. We've seen it before. But, man, they're one of the best teams in the country. Like
I wouldn't say they always
complete,
had like the ability to do this in the regular season.
I'm just saying this is like Arkansas is typically Arkansas is always going to be there. Like they are always competing at the highest level in the regular season. It feels like to me at least. But bottom line, the point stands. Getting a look at them in person, this is one of the best teams in the country. They've got the arms, they've got the sticks, they've got one of the best coaches in the game in Dave Van Horn. I loved what I saw from the Hogs over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to get these out of the way because I've been kindly corrected. Gabe Gackle, Brent Iredale, Cade Cozell, Landon Beetlecheese. Just so we're on record now.
Beetlecheese?
Beetlecheese. That's how Arkansas fan told me it was pronounced. So
the PA guy said Kozel, so I guess he was wrong too. Then
Kozel. It's Kozel.
Kozel. Okay.
KOE-ZUL is how I was told to pronounce it from an Arkansas fan.
Kozel. But, very good.
I mean, like you talk about the lineup. I mean, you have the French Canadian, Charles Davallon. I hope that one's pronounced correctly. But
it's Davallon, yeah.
From going from Canada to Florida Gulf Coast to Arkansas has to be one of the most crazy just culture shocks of just transitions. But he's settling in nicely in Arkansas and Fayetteville, and obviously doing a really good job in that leadoff role. I mean, he had 3 RBIs in game 1 alone, and that was with Aloy struggling behind him. Both Aloys went over in game 1. It's just the depth they have in the lineup that you have guys like Nolan Souza who can play at a high level, and the second baseman for them who bottom of the lineup hits can pick up the slack when other guys are struggling. It doesn't have to be a 1 or 2 man band. Guys are picking each other up when hey, I don't have their best day. They're not seeing it well to play. They're not getting on base. Ryder Helflick does it too. I mean, it's just great to see that. And I mean, I thought that Beetlecheese on Sunday had a solid outing considering his stat line, but
he only threw 1 bad pitch and he got hit out of the ballpark, but
was really sharp. Really sharp on Sunday. I mean, he went 2 hits in 4 innings, 7 Ks. I mean, his stuff is good too. I was really impressed to see that. And I mean, it's just, we both picked Arkansas. You picked Arkansas, correct?
Yeah. We all went Arkansas. Yeah.
Because we didn't think that Vanderbilt was going to be able to keep up offensively wise with Arkansas. I think it goes to show the depth. The pitching staff, I thought, was going to be
played out exactly that way. Yeah.
The pitch staff was going to be close, I thought. But I mean, you have Zach Rude, who's he's been a little streaky recently starts, but obviously a great start here. I mean, going almost 8 innings, 3 hits, no earned. I mean, great to see him bounce back, and obviously what Arkansas really needed. And then you have Gabe, who has a better start, gives your team a lot of length. He goes 2 earned over 5 2/3. But I mean, Jimenez in the bullpen was really good closing out for them. But it's just the offensive, guys being able to pick up, piece that together with solid defense and piece together with elite starting pitching and a bullpen that can, manage at minimum, let alone close the door. That's a complete team. And that's what an SEC team can do on the road. And to go on the road and sweep, Chris, I mean, not easy. That's one of the hardest things to do, I think, in baseball. And I mean, you talk about it and you think about how long it's been. Chris, when was the last time you think Arkansas swept in Nashville?
I don't know exactly, but I did hear the stat. Like it had been like 20 years, I think, or something like that.
1994 was the last time Arkansas. It was the first time they swept, and it was the last time as well in Nashville, 1994. But on the other side, Vanderbilt, this is the 3rd time since 2009. Only the 3rd time that they've been swept at home against an SEC team.
Yeah. I mean, so I'll say this when it comes to Vandy, Harrison, because I've got some Vandy buddies of mine. Shout out the Door Report, Trev and Will Byron. Trev, I saw, got crushed over the weekend on social media by people. Don't think Vandy has fans. Oh, they do. They do. And we love them, and they're awesome. And they were giving him a lot of hell for this. I'm going to kind of back up my guy Trev here real quick, because I'm going to say this. You don't fire Tim Corbin. Tim Corbin's a legend. You don't do it. I will say this, though. It feels like Tim Corbin's a guy that, he feels like a guy that the game has passed him by a little bit. From the standpoint of, dude, I know how he wants to win. You can see it. And I'm not saying it's wrong. They want to pitch, and they want to pitch really well. They want to play great defense, and they want to do just enough offensively to beat you. Here's the problem, Harrison, and being there in person, you could see it firsthand. Vanderbilt asks their pitchers to be perfect. They ask them to spin a gym every time out because they're trying to win the ball game 3-2, 4-3, 5-4. Here's the problem. In this conference in 2025, Harrison, everybody can swing it. you have to be able to swing it to win at a high level. And so pitchers are not going to be perfect. Like Vandy pitched well this weekend. All
How
their
about
guys.
Connor Fennell?
I was impressed
He
with
had
all
a
their
spot
guys.
start last week.
All
Chris,
their
in the
guys
Thursday
pitched
game.
really well. Yeah, all their guys pitched really, really well.
His Sunday he was great again against this talented Arkansas lineup. 10 Ks. He had 10 punchies, Chris, in 5 innings. He's a stud in the making.
Yeah.
I imagine if he puts on weight and continues to work with the pitching development that they have at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, all their guys pitched really well. The point being is this, though, is that Vandy, their biggest problem, they ask their pitchers to be perfect against the best lineups that college baseball has to offer, and you just cannot make a living at a high level doing that weekend in, weekend out. You can't win games 4-3, 5-4 anymore, 3-2. You can't do it. And Vandy was in every single game. But at some point, you got to do something offensively. You got to have a guy in the lineup that can break a game open. And, like, I'm not saying Vanderbilt's got bad players, but they don't have the sticks to win at the highest level. And it feels like an old, archaic way of trying to win baseball games. Tim Corbin's a legend. You don't fire him, obviously. But if I'm a Vanderbilt baseball fan, I'm like, we got to adapt or we're going to die. Like, we got to adapt or we're going to get passed up. It's a different game now. Portal, NIL. Vandy doesn't have some of the same advantages they used to have. They're still pitching really well. They're still playing great defense. But if you cannot swing it, none of it matters. And there's nobody in that Vandy lineup that really scares you. And that's their biggest problem. And that's what happened against Arkansas. They're in every single game. They can't keep up offensively. They're asking these pitchers to be perfect. And I actually feel bad for the pitching staff because they're pitching really well, but they're getting burned because at some point the offense has to step up. There's got to be a big swing of the bat. Vanderbilt's not a bad baseball team, but in the best conference in college baseball with the best lineups, they're getting lapped. So, like, I just – for the future of Vandy baseball, I'm not telling Vandy, hey, you should fire Tim Corbin. I think Tim Corbin's a great coach. He's a legend, but the style feels old and archaic, and it almost feels like Tim Corbin's losing his fastball a little bit. So what is the future of Vanderbilt baseball? I don't know, but, like, they've got to change some stuff up because you cannot swing it the way they do. You cannot win games the way they're trying. And it's a tale of two teams. Like, Arkansas realized that. They went out and they got some sticks. I'm like, they look like a different club because they had this problem. But Vandy, it's like, this has been their problem forever, man. Like, you have to be able to swing it at a high rate. If not, you're going to get lapped. It doesn't matter how good your pitching is. At some point, the pitching's going to crack because the hitters are so good. But Vandy doesn't have those guys to make you pay. That's their biggest issue.
Did it feel like a big or small ballpark to you, the Hawk?
It felt bigger than I expected from the standpoint of, like, because of all the outfield seating. But, I mean, it's not a big park, obviously. I would say it's still a small ballpark. I mean, dude, I mentioned there's no concourse. Like, there's really nowhere to walk around. I mean, every square inch of that place is taken up by a seat, which is fine. But, yeah, I would say, I mean, comparatively in the SEC, yeah, it's one of the smaller ballparks, no doubt. I mean, it's not a big park by any means, but a nice park. It's an intimate park. It's a cool, but it's again, it's just so unique. It's so different, but
yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed my experience. And I say everything with love, but I just know some folks again have been killing my guy Trev for his take on Tim Corbin. And
Corbin's tired of the question about the offense too. But, like, you gotta.
Well, then go swing it. You got to go hit. I mean,
yeah, and I think, like, the point you make about Arkansas doing that this year and getting guys that can just mash the ball and pairing that with an elite starting pitching staff and good bullpen pieces, like, that's what happens, right? But, like, think about home runs in the SEC. Where do you think Vanderbilt ranks?
I would assume dead last or near the bottom.
Dead last, 23 home runs.
I mean, dude, Harrison, like, I thought about this.
Georgia has 79.
I know. RJ Austin is a guy that, like, opening weekend, we're like, dude, I mean, and he's a stud. Dude, RJ Austin is a stud. Like, some of the plays he made in the outfield, crazy. But we're talking about him as, like, one of their top hitters. Harrison, he has 1 home run, and it came on his first at bat of the season.
And he's their leadoff.
It is about to be April. Like, so yeah, to your point, man, there's just not enough pop in the lineup. And they don't even barrel up a lot of baseballs, really. I mean,
you have a freshman in the 4-hole, Chris. That's what it's like, a really talented freshman.
And they've got some good young players. Like, Vanderbilt's not just like, I don't watch them and you're like, man, this is just a bad baseball team. They're just missing a key component. That's the problem. So
yeah, I mean, Chris, to go on the home run kind of spiel a little bit more, they're last in the home run in the SEC in home runs. And I mean, obviously batting average is the last as well in the SEC, but the last 4 teams, the bottom 4 teams in home runs, Kentucky, this is in order from 12 to 15, Kentucky, South Carolina, Missouri, Vanderbilt. What are their records?
They're all
You
not
know?
very good.
Just like you said, the pitching staff has saved them won them so many games. I mean, in the top of the SEC, I think LSU's a little bit of an outlier because they're just going to mash doubles and pop home runs at 48, and they're the number one batting average in the SEC. But LSU, Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, that's top 5.
Yeah,
and they're all above 48 home runs. 48.
Shocker!
52,
If you hit home runs and have a lot of power, you're going to be pretty good. So
exactly, and that's just what the day and age of this SEC is.
Yeah. I mean, again, moving off this one, Harrison, the harsh reality is this, or the reality is this. Arkansas, Omaha club, they figured out the offense. They've got boppers 1 through 9. We know about the pitching staff. Vanderbilt, it's the opposite. They've got the staff. They play great defense. But again, you can't swing it. I like Corbs a lot. Great coach. One of the best coaches in the country. But is he one of the best coaches in the country for today's game? Because there's a guy 2.5 hours, 3 hours away down the road in his own state that is the opposite of Tim Corbin. And you could argue he's the best coach in college baseball. So you tell me. You know what I mean? Like, you tell me. I just, like, Vandy, you're not even the best team in your own state anymore. You probably need to go get a guy that can go toe-to-toe with Tony Vitello.
Yeah.
Because Tim Corbin can't.
Last thing I'll say about it, they still produce a lot of big leaguers. They have the most big leaguers in the SEC on opening day rosters this season.
How many big league hitters?
11.
I know Dansby.
I mean, JJ Bleday, I'd say probably half.
Are they half? I thought it was mostly
pull it
pitchers.
up real quick.
I thought it was mostly pitchers. Whatever. I mean, they're a pitching factory. They're a pitching factory.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like there's a difference between producing big league talent, and winning at a high level in the SEC, obviously.
Well, I can tell you this. RJ Austin, maybe, but there is nobody in that lineup.
Here you go. JJ Bleday, Walker Buehler, Tyler Ferguson, Sonny Gray, Jack Leiter. So that's 4-1 pitchers. Brian Reynolds, outfielder. So Kumar Rocker, Colin Snyder, Dansby Swanson, and Mike Yastrzemski. So it's 1, 2, 4 to 6, 4 to 7. So 4 hitters.
More hitters than I would have thought.